I'm Jack Kennedy, and we're here to bring you the latest in MMA.
Hey everybody, my name's Hunter Boss, and what the boss says goes.
What is up everyone, my name is Keelan McNamara, and you already know what time it is.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the MMA Island Podcast. I am Jack Kennedy alongside Keelan McNamara and Hunter Boss. Well, it is a massive week for MMA Island. Obviously, we won't drop any news here, but it's good stuff's happening. You'll find out about it very soon, and we're excited here on the MMA Island Podcast. So let's go ahead and get started with the news, regular program here. Stipe versus John Jones, rumored fight for July. It's been talked about many a time before, but maybe, just maybe this time, it might actually happen. Hunter, what are your thoughts on this?
Boys, they must be listening to my podcast, and especially my heavyweight breakdown, because this is what I imagined happening. You know, I imagine this fight would happen in the summer. Here it is happening July fight week, you know, biggest fight week of the year, and they're having the two biggest competitors on the fight card. I mean, we lost a lot of hype behind this fight due to it being delayed for years and years, but it's finally happening now. You know, John Jones, speculated to finally happening now.
Yeah, I know.
We got the best light heavyweight of all time, no doubt about it. John Jones fighting the best heavyweight of the UFC era, Stipe Miocic, in one of the most entertaining fights of this year. You know, this is going to be extremely back and forth. We talked about in the podcast multiple times on who's going to win this fight, and we're still coming up. You know, not with a unanimous decision here. We're differing with each other, you know.
Yeah.
John Jones, one of the best of all time, has some of the best fight IQ to ever, you know, grace the octagon. But Stipe Miocic, no one's ever seen what Stipe is doing in that octagon and having three consecutive title defenses. Though he has lost the belt, he's ready to get it back in this interim title fight come July.
Yeah, this is very exciting. There's sort of two moving parts to this, as there always is. And there's the fact that it's been rumored and whether it will actually happen. Basically, that's where my head's at with this. For the first part, I couldn't agree much more with what Hunter's just said. It's a great fight. It really, really is. It's a fight more than worthy of an interim title fight. I think that would be amazing. If John Jones wins an interim title, you know, Dana White, you know, just pees himself with excitement. If Stipe wins it, he's back. Do we get the Ngannou rematch eventually? There's a lot of different avenues we can go with this. And in that regard, I like what they're doing. Now, that leads me directly onto the caveat to this whole lovely story. And that's whether it actually happens or not. And this is far too valid of a concern to not be mentioned, because John Jones has been rumored to be in every fight for about 2 years and none of them have happened. So you will have to forgive my skepticism just a little bit when it comes to Johnny Bones. Now, I mean, we've had Ngannou rumors, Cyril Gane rumors. We've had pretty much every other rumor there could have been, and none of them have happened. But there have been more murmurings about Stipe. This fight has been talked about a little bit more than the others. Maybe there's some traction to it. I don't know. But if it did happen, I would watch it. I would be very excited to see it. Personally, and this is very, very, very early. This is very preliminary because the fight has not even been confirmed. There aren't even strong enough rumors yet. But if we were to even remotely try and tackle this early on, both guys would have issues. Stipe Miocic is coming towards the twilight of his career. I think that's fair to say. He's coming off a pretty savage loss to Francis Ngannou. John Jones is going up to a division he's never been to before. He looks really, really, really heavy. Will he be able to be the same old John Jones? There's X, there's Y, there's Z. Take them all in a bag, throw it out the window, because we don't know what we're talking about at this point yet. But one thing's for sure, I'm very excited. And if the rumors are true and if it happens, which I don't think it will, but if it does happen, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think this is a great matchup, honestly. This is whenever John Jones said he was going to move up to heavyweight, which was over 2 years now, right? Over 2 years ago. He said he was gonna move up to heavyweight. I was the first fight I off the top of my head was Stipe, right? And Stipe was the champion at that time. But even after Stipe lost to Ngannou, I was like, yeah, Stipe, just because it is just the perfect, not only just matchup, but storyline as well. You have the greatest heavyweight of all time versus the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Match them up together. They're so well rounded. These guys are. There's a reason why they were the best in their respective divisions. It's because of how well rounded they are, how good they are at everything. The question is now it might be Stipe's age a little bit, but that's one loss to Francis Ngannou that we're talking about. I still think he's okay and can compete. The real questions come from Jon Jones. We've never seen him fight at heavyweight. He's going to be going up facing a guy who is rightly ranked number one in that division still, the former champion, and arguably should have already got a title shot rematch against Ngannou. A guy who has phenomenal wrestling, great boxing, which honestly a lot of people would give the boxing advantage to Stipe in this fight just on pure boxing and boxing defense. It's a lot of things like match up that equal Jon Jones. And what someone commented this on an Instagram post I saw, and I agree with it. The people that have given Jon Jones problems are people that match his size and his relative ability, namely Alexander Gustafsson, Dominic Reyes, and Thiago Santos, but he wasn't even the same size. But as far as size go, Dominic Reyes and Alexander Gustafsson, same height and relatively, but Jon Jones might be a little bigger than them. Stipe is going to be bigger than Jon Jones. It's his natural weight class that he's going to be at. The other thing is too, not only is it a over 2 year, almost 3 year layoff for Jon Jones, it's a whole new weight class. So he's going to be having to figure it out a little bit as it goes on. And he's going to be facing a guy that doesn't have to figure it out. This is his home. This has always been his home as heavyweight. So there's so many questions, but at the same time, and this is Jon Jones, who knows what happens. And this is why I hate doing this, because I always hype it up. And that's why I picked Jon Jones on my fantasy team last year and didn't fight one single time. So as far as this happening, I think that if Jon Jones is ever going to fight, it has to be this summer. He's talked about it. I think this is the opportunity. I think if he doesn't fight here, he might never fight again. So I think logically it just makes way too much sense for it to happen as opposed to not happen. So I'm going to say it does happen this summer, just because if this doesn't happen, it's Jon Jones just doesn't want to do it. That's the only reason it wouldn't happen, because everything is aligning perfect for UFC 276 in July. Fight week, everything. Slap an interim belt on there. You got a fight that everyone who's anyone in MMA is going to watch. So yeah. With that, let's go ahead and transition to the best of the best. And on the fight week previously, we had Belal Muhammad upset Vicente Luque. I was shocked. But hey, credit to him. He won the fight fair and square. How would he do against the top three in welterweight? Hunter, what do you think?
Not good. Well, let's just go through name by name. Actually, you know what? That's a lot of time. I'll just summarize it up.
Yeah.
I think that the top five of the welterweight division, what Belal has is wrestling, and we saw that on Saturday's fight night.
Yeah.
So what does Belal have to offer to the top five of the division here? We see other better wrestlers in that division in Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, Hamzat Chimaev, and the list goes on. And I can even name like wrestlers outside of the top five that I think Belal Muhammad would have trouble with. I think the only person in the top five who's not really a wrestler is Leon Edwards. And we saw what happened to Belal Muhammad after Leon Edwards got his hands on him. So I don't think he'd do great in that matchup. I think this is about as far as Belal Muhammad can go. And I've been saying this because I'm still not on that Belal Muhammad hype train yet. And because he hasn't shown me anything new that I haven't seen from Belal Muhammad. Everyone in the top five is always improving. Belal Muhammad still looks great. He just doesn't look like he's getting better. You know, he doesn't look like he's getting – it looks like his striking is getting a little bit better. Like every time I go out there, it looks like his striking is getting a little bit better. That's the only thing I can say. His wrestling looks like good wrestling. I'll admit it. It looks like great wrestling. But I can just think of so many better wrestlers in the top five. Hamzat Chimaev would be a nightmare for Belal Muhammad because he's too strong for him. He can wrestle too. And he can wrestle, I'd say, just as good as Belal. And with that size advantage and that strength advantage, it's going to be trouble for him. Colby Covington is too persistent. I mean, if Belal is, I know we see that Belal can make it to the 5 rounds. Colby Covington will make it there to the 5 rounds and then 5 more after that. Colby Covington has not only great wrestling, but a great endurance. I don't think Belal Muhammad has what it takes to even take on Colby Covington in that. I think this is as far as it goes for him. I mean, I've speculated and I've looked at it a few different times. I just don't see anyone in that top 5 division that Belal can beat on paper.
Yeah, I actually do agree with Hunter in this. I actually thought I would disagree, but when I saw the Vicente Luque fight, I actually am with Hunter in this, I have to say. If we consider the top 4 of the welterweight division, not counting the champion Kamaru Usman, just pretty much number 1 ranked through number 4 ranked, we have Colby Covington, Khamzat Chimaev, Gilbert Burns, and Leon Edwards. Out of those 4, who can you genuinely see Belal Muhammad beating? Because I can't see him beating any of them. I really don't. Leon Edwards, all right, yes, it was unfortunately stopped because of an eye poke, no contest, all that kind of stuff. But let's not forget, in that first round, Leon Edwards was beating him to every punch and to every kick and was making his stand-up look borderline amateurish. He was half a second slow to every shot that was thrown. Khamzat Chimaev, the number 3 ranked welterweight, good Lord, that would be a mess, in my humble opinion. You know, Chimaev is massive. His pressure is massive. And I think he would end up breaking Belal Muhammad. I really do. Gilbert Burns, I think, would be a nightmare fight. In fact, I think that would be his easiest fight out of the top 4, Gilbert Burns. And that's only because Gilbert's a natural 155er who's up at 170 and doing remarkably well, might I add, for someone who came from 155. I think if I had to put any of my own money on Belal fighting any of the top 4, I think it would be Gilbert Burns, only because they size up pretty similarly. But in terms of skill, I think Gilbert Burns would still beat him there. I genuinely do. And let's not even talk about Colby Covington, because good Lord, Colby Covington is that good of a wrestler. He's a nightmare for any style, let alone someone whose wrestling is not as good as Colby Covington's. That tells you have a real problem. And whether you love Colby Covington, whether you hate Colby Covington, you cannot deny how good the guy is. He is a fantastic fighter. And like Hunter said, Colby Covington could go for 5 rounds without breaking a sweat. He could probably jog around the arena car park, go back in and fight 5 more if he really had to. In fact, if we were living in the era of Pride tournaments still, Colby Covington would probably win all of them, because his endurance and his toughness and his ability to stay in the fight and pressurize is unlike any I've ever seen, nearly from anybody. So when we look at the top 4 and we're realistic, as Hunter was, can you genuinely see Belal Muhammad beating any of them? Because my answer to that is, and I'm sorry to say this, I can't.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys 100%. I think that if Vicente Luque let his hands go, like in the 3rd round, he would have won the fight. Like he won the 3rd round because he finally started letting his hands go, and he rocked him like 3 times. Every single time he touched him, he was rocking Belal Muhammad. He just wouldn't let his hands go. I thought the pressure was actually good. He could get up from the takedowns. It's just like the majority of the fight was so frustrating because Vicente Luque had him backed up and was just not doing anything. And I know it's so tough because there was no wide open opening, but it was hard to watch because if he would just let his hands go, that could be it. So yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I think honestly, Burns would win. Burns, I think, is better everywhere. I grappling wise, look, pure takedowns, maybe you go Muhammad, but it goes to the ground, Burns could tap him. On the feet, Burns, no question about it. Just in general, I think Burns. Chimaev, yeah, we don't even talk about that. Colby, same thing. We're not even mentioning Usman because there's no reason to even talk about that. Leon Edwards, we saw that. We literally saw Leon Edwards. We saw that fight happen. So, for me, honestly, I think the best test for now, he's going to most likely get Burns because I think that is the fight to make. He's got to go up now. And Burns is coming off of just an absolute dog fight in the Chimaev fight. So he's going to want one that's like that. And it's a good stylistic matchup as well. You could throw it as a fight night main event or as like a pay-per-view, like 3rd fight down fight. and it's solid. It's a solid fight, but I honestly think a great matchup for Muhammad would be Sean Brady, and I know that's really far down the rankings, but like that's just, at least in my opinion, I'm just not impressed yet. I'm really not. It's just he seems to be really relying on it. His wrestling's good. His wrestling's really solid. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not seeing that it factor that you require to have in the top 4 of welterweight. And I don't think he's going to hold on to that 5th ranked position for very long. But again, credit to Belal Muhammad, but I don't really see him beating anyone in the top 4 and really lasting in that 5 position very long, in my opinion.
I don't know what about Belal, but I just feel like I want to hate on him. You know, like that might be a bad thing, but like I never root for Belal. Is it because he's boring? Is it because he's really good at making me look wrong? I don't know, but I'm never rooting for Belal. I don't know why. I just like Jack. You summarized it really good in your last statement. He doesn't have that it factor for me to really get behind it. There's nothing. There's nothing. This is going to sound so bad. There's nothing special about it that makes me want to follow Belal Muhammad. I mean, everything that I've seen from him, Colby Covington can do. Gilbert Burns can do. You know, there's like 5 other welterweights I can name that can be Belal Muhammad. Not beats, but be. I mean, like this is, it's not too hard to replicate his style. There's nothing really super unique. He looks like if he combined every single UFC fighter into one, we got Belal Muhammad right here. You know, he's average about everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit, actually, I'd say a little bit above average and everywhere because he is number 5, granted. Yeah. But there's something about him that makes me not want to watch this fighter, and I'm going to end it off there.
He's like, Hunter, I know exactly what you dislike about Belal Muhammad, and it's not something you've even mentioned. It's the fact that he wears sunglasses in the octagon. No, don't get me wrong. I like sunglasses. I'm a big sunglasses guy, and I wear them pretty much. That's my guy. That's my guy. He had them ready. He knew what time it was.
That's the it factor. That's what it is right there.
That's what he thinks the it factor is that you just need to put on some sunglasses. You got the it factor. Boom.
Exactly.
Hunter, remember the name Boss already more memorable. I mean, to be honest with you, I think he has the worst nickname for his personality, Remember the Name, because there's nothing memorable. And I'm not being harsh intentionally, but there just isn't. And Hunter's made a really good point there. You know, if you were to take every aspect of every MMA fighter on the roster, even every fighter in the welterweight division, you would come up with Belal Muhammad. He's like a creative fighter on UFC.
I was going to say that.
That is what he's like. If you give him the sunglasses, the good wrestling ability, the decent striking ability, that Belal Muhammad is what you come up with. We have a saying in this part of the world, I don't know if you do as well, he's a jack of all trades and he's master of none of them. That's kind of the best thing I can find to sum up Belal Muhammad. You know, his striking is 6 out of 10, wrestling 7 out of 10, you know, defense 7 out of 10, stamina 7 out of 10. He's good in all areas, but he's not spectacular or exciting in any of them. He's not like Khamzat Chimaev, whose actual wrestling we don't really know about because we haven't seen that much, but he can grab Li Jingliang, talk to Dana White and slam him down. He doesn't have an it factor. He doesn't have an X factor. He doesn't have that one attribute that sets him apart from anything else. He's kind of like, I'm trying to find the best way to describe Belal Muhammad. It's not like let's use the NBA as an example because people will know what I'm talking about there. I could use my own examples, but no one will get them, and that's fine. It's not like he's Steph Curry, who's one of the best 3-point shooters has ever been. It's not like he's LeBron James, who has this incredible athletic ability and who can dunk on anybody. He doesn't have longevity. He's not explosive. He's not exciting. Like when you look at the welterweight division, there's a lot of names that stick out. Like, Colby Covington, I've heard of him. You know, Khamzat Chimaev, that's that new guy. Gilbert Burns, he's just been in a fight of the year. When you look at Belal Muhammad, nothing about him screams out to you, support me. And I know Hunter was trying to be a little bit humorous about that, and to his credit, he was. But he does make a good point. There's nothing about Belal Muhammad that jumps out at you and grabs your attention. It's kind of like, he's just there. He's just a name that's there. Like even lower down, Sean Brady might even be more exciting. I still think Vicente Luque is more exciting. Jorge Masvidal, people still know him, even though he just lost to Colby Covington. The thing with Belal Muhammad, not on the streets, exactly. Jorge's 1-0 in the streets. We all know the truth. No, the point is with Belal, and I will end it off here because I'd like to hear what Jack has to say on this as well. The point is, I think you guys both made really great points there as well. There's nothing exciting about Belal Muhammad, and his fighting reflects his personality. He's good at everything, but he's not great at any of it, And even when it comes to the actual division, he might end up being the gatekeeper for the top 5. I think he's good enough to beat people behind him, but I don't see him being good enough to beat anyone in front of him. And yeah, Belal Muhammad, remember the name? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I might forget it, to be honest.
it's Belal, please remember my name. Please remember my name. I think I'm disappointed you said it because I was gonna say the UFC 4 thing. It's totally like the creative fighter, but you choose like the average wrestler guy, and it's like that is Belal Muhammad. Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I'm not. It's funny because he's just kind of he's there. He's existing. It's weird. And it's funny we're talking about all this, and he just beat Vicente Luque, who was just steamrolling people in the division, which is why I think that, like, personally, I know, Hunter, you were saying, like, why you can't go for him. I think, personally, it's because of his style, and he's beating some of my favorite fighters, like Stephen Thompson and Vicente Luque back-to-back. I think that bothers me a little bit. So, look, hey, despite everything we're saying, credit to Belal Muhammad for being ranked number 5 at welterweight, but at the same time, everything we said, I think, is valid. No, anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the pick of the night. And we're also doing the upset of the night now added on for this podcast. So, Hunter, what is your upset of the night and your pick of the night for this? It is a fight night. So,
yeah. Well, so my pick of the night is, I feel it's pretty obvious. It's Jessica Andrade. I mean, she's a fantastic fighter. She's like the Colby Covington of the entire women's, weight divisions, all of them. Like, I feel like she's always the second best anywhere she goes.
Yeah.
Because she's that good, just not championship material. And Amanda Lemos is a fantastic and fascinating prospect, though I just don't think she's I don't think she's been in the UFC long enough to really know how to beat Jessica Andrade here. Jessica Andrade is kind of like Belal Muhammad, but better in every single area. So Jessica Andrade can wrestle, she can strike, she can do everything, right? She's got great grappling, she's got great submission threats. Amanda Lemos is a bit, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but she's been knocking out a lot of people lately. She has been, like, at first round knockouts too. So they're really fascinating knockouts. But though those may look flashy, I would pick Jessica Andrade in this matchup because Jessica Andrade's been in the UFC for way longer. I think she debuted in 2013. Amanda Lemos debuted in 2018. Not as much experience. Jessica Andrade, on the other hand, more knockouts, more submissions, but then again, that comes with being in the UFC for longer. I think Amanda Lemos is going to be really good in the future. I just don't think she is going to win tonight. And that's why I have Jessica Andrade winning I'm going to go by knockout, round 2. Round 2 knockout, Jessica Andrade, maybe TKO. My upset of the night is going to be against Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright is a plus 150 favorite. His opponent is Marc-Andre. Oh, I'm going to mess this up. Mariot. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm sorry. Google it. You'll know what I'm talking
I'm
about.
pretty sure that's how they say it in his hometown, is how you just pronounced it right there.
Oh, I was just kidding about being wrong. I'm actually
multicultural boss.
Genius right here. Sorry, guys. But Jordan Wright, he's not bad, I would say, by any means, but his opponent is just a little bit worse. He's lost about 3 out of his 5 UFC fights. Jordan Wright, on the other hand, he's only lost 1. And he's had 2 fights. But I think Jordan Wright's just a better prospect. He's a better wrestler. He's a better striker. I think Jordan Wright will outclass him in a 3-round unanimous decision victory for Jordan Wright. You guys know why? Because that's what the boss says goes, and I definitely butchered that just a tiny bit. Don't rewatch.
That's the best backhanded compliment I've ever heard in my life. He's not bad, his opponent's just a little bit worse. Okay, people, on to business. Okay, we do serious things here in the MMA Island podcast, as you should know by now. Shame on you if you didn't, but if you don't, now you do. So, pick of the night, who are we going for? Well, we're going for my boy, and by extension now, our boy, Dean Barry. Dean is, of course, making his UFC debut. Shout out the sniper, Dean Barry. That's my guy. Making his debut against Mike Jackson, the man who may be most famously remembered for one of the worst welterweight fights in history against Mr. CM Punk. And he still managed to just about scrape a win out of that. So take out of that what you will. I got to be honest, I think Dean Barry's going to walk this. If you've seen any of his previous fights, you know what I'm on about. Acrobatic striking, pretty much good at everything Mike Jackson just isn't. And there's a reason. I mean, I'm looking at the odds right now for CBS, and Dean Barry is a minus 1,100 favorite. I'm not even going to say anymore because that, you know what? I'm just going to leave that one where it is.
Yeah.
So Dean Barry's
the largest favorite on the card yet, boys. Just letting everyone know. Our boy Dean Barry, biggest favorite on the card. Go watch him.
Let's go.
That's my guy. And so upset of the night. I'm not going to go for the obvious one because I know Jack wants to go for this. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave him that Luis Diaz tap-in against Man United 5 minutes in. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, see that. You see what we do here.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave him the little Luis Diaz tap-in, and I'm going to take the Bernardo Silva volley from outside the box against Brighton. I am going to take as my upset of the night Montana De La Rosa against Macy Barber.
Oh, that's a good pick, actually.
I think there's a little bit of interesting action that could be had there. Unlike Mike Jackson, I think there's interesting action to be had here. And Macy Barber, you might be wondering why I'm betting against Macy, and there's a very good reason for that. And the reason's actually quite simple. She has not been very impressive in her last few fights. Her momentum has stagnated quite a bit, and she's edged out a couple of, to put it politely, controversial decisions here and there. And I think at some point, controversial decisions have to stop, and they get stopped. And I think they're going to get stopped against Montana De La Rosa. I think she's been very impressive in her last couple of fights, got some very good results. And I think her style of fighting is conducive to a very good result here. I think she's going to go in. I think Macy Barber might be a little bit conservative, a little bit hesitant. And I could see Montana De La Rosa tagging her early on, hurting her, and maybe even putting her away in the first or second round. So just to recap, in case you didn't hear it loudly in the back there of the video, didn't hear it in the back, you know what I'm talking about. My pick of the night is, of course, Dean Barry, my boy, our boy, everybody's boy. He will be after this. And my upset of the night is Montana De La Rosa. And gentlemen, do you know why? Do you know why those are the right picks?
Why would that be?
Because if you want to know who to back, you come to Mystic Mac.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So,
smooth criminal. I'm out.
For the exact reason that Hunter is picking Jessica Andrade, I'm going to pick against Jessica Andrade here for the pick of the night. Look, Amanda Lemos has been going on a knockout streak. Momentum is everything, I think, in this fight. Andrade has been at the top level for a very long time. It's a new time, though. Amanda Lemos by knockout. Round 3 will be my pick of the night prediction. I think it's gonna be a good one because both these women like to throw down. Andrade is more well-rounded. However, for the most part, like, she goes for slams and stuff, and there's going to be a big height and reach advantage for Amanda Lemos as well in this fight. So, this is actually a legitimate prediction. I'm actually not being I usually pick different just to be different, but this time I legitimately think Amanda Lemos is going to win this, and I think it's gonna be a solid, main event for this fight night. And she's going to get the win. So that's my pick of the night. For the upset of the night, which we're doing now, I'm going to go ahead and, like Keelan said, with his multiple football or soccer references, I'm going to go Lando Venata over Charles Jourdain. Now, this is one that I honestly, I wouldn't compare it to a tap-in because I think this is a very close fight. I think Charles Jourdain is the real deal. And this is a fight where both guys are technically unranked, but both guys could be fighting ranked guys whenever. They're at that level. I'm going to pick Lando just because I think he's a bit more technical, and I think he'll just be able to land the better strikes overall. But Charles Jourdain is a dog, and he will keep going forward and land. So I'm predicting this could be, honestly, this is my fight of the night prediction as well. So this is upset of the night prediction, but this is also my fight of the night prediction if I have one, because these guys are going to go at it. I think it's probably going to be a 29-28 to Venata, or a split decision or something like that. It's going to be close. But I'm going to go Lando over Charles Jourdain. And guys, do you know why that is? Because if you want the facts, you listen to Jack. Boom.
I felt that.
There we go. First, Jack, I like that prediction a lot. Yeah. I just have to say, I didn't want to bet on that fight because when I saw Jourdain fight in his last fight and I saw him Sparta kick his opponent, I'm like, I don't want any part to do. I thought that was the coolest thing.
To end it too. To end the
Sparta kicks him, goes to the crowd and goes, how about that? I'm right here.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh man, Charles Jourdain. That fight right there is going to be fight of the night. I hope everyone tunes in and watches that. There's a few fights you guys need to tune into.
Yeah.
Though this card may not look great on top, in the middle of it looks fantastic. Yeah. Dean Barry, everyone needs to go watch Dean Barry fight. He's your boy. He's going to kill. And just wait, because this is not his natural weight class. So just make sure and watch out and imagine the things he would do lower. But we have Jessica Andrade in the main event. That's always going to be pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
But middle of the card, I think it's the beginning of the main card. We have Lando Venata versus Charles Jourdain, which that is a fight of the night. Everyone knows. And if you don't know, you know now. So make sure to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some very promising fights in this card when you actually break them down. I mean, Tyson Pedro, Ike Villanueva, I think that's a very good fight.
That's a solid fight.
I think there's some real power to be thrown in that fight. The Jordan Wright, Marc-Andre Barrio fight, I really like that as well. I think that was a very good shout by Hunter. And yeah, I'm looking at that card. I think there's some really good fights. Manuel Cape,
I got called off.
I wouldn't mention that.
The fight's called off, Keelan. No.
Oh shit, that's right. No. That's right. Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
Cage backed out due to personal reasons.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry, you're absolutely correct. He did, didn't he? Well, it would have been a hell of a fight. It's been a long day, guys. Leave me alone, right?
No worries.
Hashtag stop Keelan bullying down below. No, it is a really good card. And if you look at the beginning of the main events, Charles Jourdain, Lando Venata, unbelievable fight. Like you said, Jack, and you are absolutely correct, Charles Jourdain is the real deal. And I certainly don't think that is a top-in for Lando Venata. I think that is a very, very uber competitive fight. Claudio Puelles and Clay Guida, that's a good fight. Don't know if I would co-main it because Clay hasn't co-mained since 2009, roughly. But it's a good fight. It is a good fight. And we've got Jessica Andrade, Amanda Lemos. That'll tell us something, at least, about that division. So, there are some promising fights here. I don't think... I mean, I tell everybody not to miss a fight card because I'm a fan. But there are some promising actions to be had here.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's a sleeper card. For sure, there are... I would say there's 3 fights that are, worth watching for most definitely that are going to be on, which is, for being honest, it's not great, but what we're saying is filled with a bunch of fights that have potential to be amazing. So let's hope that happens. And as always, thank you everyone so much for listening to the podcast. You can listen to us everywhere, literally everywhere, including iTunes and Spotify. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at MMA.island and check out our website, MMAisland.net. Great podcast, guys. Thanks everyone so much for listening.
Thank you, guys.